Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
NolaPapa. Pop in.
You guys, it's time for another episode of NolaPapa Poppins. I love this series so much because I go after the places I love. And today we are at my favorite, literally. I've been all over the country, and not to sound bougie.
You sound bougie,
but
bitch.
your papa has found the best burger place that's been in New Orleans for a hot minute now.
Like almost 15 years.
Company Burger. And the owner, Adam, is with us today, and I can't wait to talk to him, find out his secret.
Tell me.
You know he has a mayo bar.
Did you just say mayo?
I love some Chipotle mayo.
Oh, so do I.
And he created the mayo bar. So let's talk more about it. Let's go find Adam. Over the years, I've been able to watch Company Burger from afar because I worked out right there. And your papa's going to begin to work out there again soon. But we're going to talk to Adam. Oh, I see him. He's coming out the doors. That's Adam Biederman! I'm so excited. This is really cool. I used to watch you. I was talking that treadmill right there. I would watch all the happenings because look, they have height. I love the tropical vibes. You can come out here when it's not like melting, and you really have a good time, good burger. Now, Adam, what we are going to find out is how your burger is distinguished differently, and it's almost packaged in a form that people are using incorrectly by calling it a smash burger.
We're definitely not a smash burger.
Right.
Definitely not a smash burger.
Definitely.
Not to say that smash burgers aren't good and that our burger, by contrast, is not as good.
Right. And that is
Method.
right. And excuse me, he goes deeper into it. But technically, and there is it's really cool, and we're going to find the history out about it too, but we're going to go inside first. And we're going to
With the fans on, it'll still be unbearable out here.
and that's just New Orleans climate, you know.
Hotter than a
but
witch's girdle.
We're going to find out the picture that really, I think, maybe sparked his heart, his big heart. I know he's a big man, but he's a teddy bear, and we're going to go talk to him. You don't think burger when you think typical New Orleans flair food, okay? You think Americana. Let me get comfortable. You think, gumbo, red beans. You think, but I'm here to tell you, because I've been here a hot minute, I'm shriveling like a raisin on a hot sun. So I've been here. I remember the beginning, okay? I used to work out next door and run on the treadmill, which I probably will again soon. But I've seen this place grow over the years. And Company Burger is a standout staple when it comes to burgers, not only in New Orleans, and if you visit New Orleans, it will elevate you to a new respect for what a burger is. And Adam Biederman is the owner, the visionary. I bring visionaries to this show, okay? I really do. I do. Because it starts in your heart. And then you have to have courage and tenacity in some sort of way to make it happen. And then when you have it happen, you meticulously make sure that it's done consistently. And then after you have the recipe, you pay it forward. And it's beautiful. And I remember in the beginning, Adam, you opened your shop to feed the people that I'm going to just throw the storm out there. It could have been Gustav. It could have been...
No, it was 2012. It was the one where we were closed for like 10 days. Okay. I don't remember the name.
Well, we all were closed. It wasn't Ida. Okay, this was before that. My dog almost died because I left it to go to work, and I learned the real hard way. Don't do that. It didn't die. He recovered. It was great. But he opened shop, and he fed people that did not have electricity, did not have water, and he is imagine a new restaurateur that just opened, fresh hot off the street, and open and shop for the people of your neighborhood that didn't have anything. And I bet people traveled if they could to get it, and if they weren't in the neighborhood. Adam, when you did that, I think and I talked to you on the phone, it settled in people's hearts.
Lovely to hear. Glad we made that kind of impact.
It's true. And did you go in your inner, like, because you have to think on your feet real quick. It was like, well, dang, we're going to open for these people.
I think for us it was like, what can we do to make this situation better? Like, we didn't expect to be down for as long, and no electricity, no air conditioning, no refrigeration. We had the product. We all kind of like came together and was like, well, let's give all the product away if we're not going to make money on it, and see who we can feed, and who we can just kind of like, a cheeseburger makes so many things better in food, and generosity and community make tough times better. So I think that was it. We were just like, let's get out there, and we had a griddle that was propane, and we just put it out there.
Wow! So he didn't even need electricity. He fired up the tank and went to town with a product that was gonna go bad if he didn't even use it. So why not open your heart? And Toops, they've been on the show. Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Good friends, love the Toops.
They have the heart of a frickin' tugboat, and you do too.
Well, we try. We're not as public about it as other people, but we want to make a difference wherever we can and give back.
And that's where it starts. So you have this recipe, you have this humble and beautiful, I would say it starts at home. So I'm going to pin your parents on being real good people, and you have a consistency that puts out a product that people remember, not only the heart, but the taste. And then they're like, we going back. And for 20, y'all been open. I have been here 25, but y'all been here how long?
14 years in August.
I've been here for 14 years.
Since day one. That's why I recognize you.
It makes me feel jittery when people say that, because it's like, for years I've been here, and it's like, I'm a little mouse in a corner. Now we're like a circus because it's super loud. I have 3 kids. But my oldest, I just have to tell you, Allie Mae, we're on the North Shore right now. We'll be home soon, in less than a month. But when she has done good or made good grades, I feel happy when I make food for her. It's like, you want my food? And it's now company burger, and we just came recently. And to know that not only do you make adults happy, but you make kids look forward to it.
Crazy, because some of the hardest customers to please in the world are kids, right? Because they've got very fickle tastes and desires. My nephews, I have 2 nephews, 5 and 7. And I finally got my 7-year-old nephew, Mason. He ate a company burger 3 days ago, because he was a single kid for a long time. And I was always like, all right, man, there's going to come a day when I really think you're going to really enjoy a company burger, And he's like looking at it, always was looking at it when we were eating together and stuff. And he ate one. I saw him for Mother's Day at my parents' house, and he was like, I ate a company burger the other day. And I was like, well, did you like it? And he was like, I'm never eating another burger ever again. And I was like, yep, that's what we're going for. That's what we're going for.
Can I just admit something to you?
Absolutely.
I guess I've never had a true company burger.
Oh, you're a single kid.
No, I'm not.
Single.
No. I just modify it.
Okay. Well, how do you modify it?
I modify it by bastard.
I mean, look, everyone's. So here's the crazy thing too, though, is that, like, is that a singular product, right? Like, the company burger is pickles, onions, cheese, 2 thin patties, the bun. But look, not everyone likes onions. Certainly not everyone likes bread and butter pickles. That's been a big, that's a big deal. Is it's not dill pickles. Everybody wants or not everyone, but in the beginning it was the fight and the war against lettuce and tomato. Not that I hate all of that, but it just wasn't. It's just not what this burger is.
And that, I don't mean to cut you off, but that is a very pertinent topic about Adam's Burgers, because, we're taught, the fire grill, let's put lettuce and tomato, ketchup and mayo, all of it on there, but it takes away from the meat.
Well, it takes away, it adds, it's, burgers and it's like burgers, pizza, barbecue, right? Or tacos now. It's like all of these can be done in very specific ways. And for the company burger, this is just always my ideal cheeseburger. So yes, we don't do lettuce and tomato. I've never done it on this burger. We've tried it, but it's weird. And it doesn't make any sense to me. But that doesn't mean we're like, we're so strict about it. If you don't want onions, don't get onions. If you don't want pickles, don't get pickles. We we have the mayo bar, so we have 6 different kinds of mayo. You can put whatever you want on yourself. So we, bacon and egg. The
mayo bar, yes, and the egg. Yeah. That was real. When you opened, that blew people's minds. Yes. Like the country, I don't know what it's called, but it brings, it elevates it. I have tried it with the egg, and my old friend Brent would take me when y'all first opened. He was our photographer for everything we've done. Brent came in and he taught me about, adding the egg, and at the time it was original, and now you have copycats that have it's true, they have added it to the menu. I haven't seen a mayo bar physically with my peepers in a restaurant. However, they have introduced the chipotle mayonnaise. Y'all, I ain't seen the chipotle mayonnaise before Company Burger opened. I'll say it, I'll die on the hill. He has a whole bar, the mayo bar. When you walk in, you see these, the blue mixed with the white, and easy to read letters of mayo bar. And where is that? Where is that, Adam Biederman?
At Company Burger only.
Oh! It's true, and that's what distinguishes. And to go back to my weird burger, I do take off the pickles and the onions. Okay, that means I can try it for the first time, right? But the chipotle mayonnaise is what has my heart. I put it on top of the meat. Right. I put it everywhere, and then I dip it into the cup. And then everything I have, the onion rings and the fries, all go in the chipotle. Last time I came, I tried the garlic. And to have them both.
Yep. Some people mix those two. Some people mix the garlic and the chipotle together, so you get garlic chipotle.
Me too, Bob.
And then a lot of people mix the fancy with sriracha or hot sauce.
I ain't even tried the fancy. Look, we're gonna say it on air right now. So, and I saw this personally when I would run on the treadmill next door to Anytime Fitness. I said that Anytime Fitness is great, but these people, bless their hearts, they keep pulling on the door. It's a Tuesday, and I would see so many floods of people come in, and they would pull on the door, and you could tell the people that are just visiting for the first time, because they're like, okay, and then the diehards, like me maybe, but I knew because I would work out. So it's like, no, y'all, Tuesday they stop. But to see it with the hearts that fall, and then they learn forevermore.
It only takes once. And then you remember, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah, the Tuesday.
Or if you're like me and you don't, but whatever, because everybody needs a rest, right?
Well, for us we do. If always with 7-day operations, it's like, when do you get something fixed? When can you go to the doctor? Et cetera, et cetera. The advantages of being closed for a day are long, but the disadvantages are also long because you don't have the sales, etc. So there's a big pro con. It's always a big discussion. When are we going to open back up on Tuesdays? Trust me, it is a constant conversation we have. It always ends up about 50-50 pro con. So, we'll see. It's always on the table. Hiring people is always, and growing our employees is always important. Growing the business is important. But I, as the owner, really enjoy waking up, and you could say it's an expensive decision,
and sleep late, kick your feet up, let your hair
I
down.
never sleep late, but I definitely the waking up on a Tuesday and knowing that there's no extra stressor and there's no like this problem or this, or conversely, go see these people or welcome people into your business, and which is always our goal, right? We're hospitalitarians, so we want to be there as much as possible. So it's a constant push pull. It's something I do struggle with.
And I think any restaurateur that's successful, and y'all, when I tell you that Company Burger elevates it, and it always has, and what's super damn cool is he hasn't touched the cost of the burger that someone buys. It's like $11. Today's date, I went to Burger Nerds, and it was like $18. I don't mean to call people out. I'm an open book, bro. Don't tase me. I'm here. I spill truth, and he hasn't touched the cost. And the product that you make not only comes from a locally sourced meat bank. It's not called a meat source, whatever.
Well,
meat bank would be gross.
It's a family-owned meat distributor. And then all of our beef comes from Creekstone Farms, which is in Arkansas City, Kansas. And it's a great company. And the difference between what Creekstone does and what everyone else does is the way they raise the cattle, the protocols, the guarantees of genetics. I've been and witnessed the process at their facilities from, well, you could call it the end. The end is the beginning. So we call it, and they call it the sacrifice. And that's just part of the deal, right? But it is truly that's the mindset and how they
have a heart going into it, and the end game.
And they subscribe to the Temple Grandin philosophy. The facility they use was designed by Temple Grandin, and that was a woman who's still alive today, and she's considered to be the godmother of all animal husbandry and modern industrial farming. So a lot of the regular stuff we eat is just big agriculture, right? Creekstone is adjacent to all of that, as in it's not as big. I mean, granted, they've grown, but all the cows coming in, they're the calves are weaned with their moms on grass fields until they reach the point where they go to feedlots. The facility is about as good as you could possibly get for what happens there. They employ a ton of people. And
I'm sorry, but this is amazing. The ethics.
It's as ethical as you can get. We all work under the obvious, like, of
the elephant in the room, right?
But I mean, at the end of the day, we're carnivores and we consume beef, and that's the way it is. So if you're gonna do it, why not find the people and create those relationships with the people that are doing it the best way it can possibly be done?
Can I just say, I can't wait to tell Allie Mae that, because my oldest daughter, because she has such a heart on her, it's hard for her to personally choose to eat beef. Right. But if she knows, and I'll say it again, or whatever, McDonald's does not do that, okay? And
you're getting barely food with them.
Right, and she knows, she's old enough to be cognizantly intelligent enough to know that McDonald's doesn't do that. So when she does make good grades, and we are going to go out to have good burgers, she consciously knows that Company Burger, she will consciously know that it will be like a really ethical process,
right. And that also gives you the best possible product to sell, right? Like, that's how I grew up in this business, was finding the best things you can put on the plate for the money that you need to charge, and for the value. I mean, it's all prime beef. It's upper 2/3 choice to prime. There is no better product that you could use for a burger. In my opinion and experience in this country, there's no better product than Creekstone for a burger if you're going to do the portion size we do at the price that we do. Honestly, it should be a $13 cheeseburger, but we don't. We keep it at 11. It's gone from $10.50 to 11 because that's just the way the market works, right? But for what we do here, we are substantial. I mean, when you look at what a Big Mac costs, is what, $7.50 almost, $8 for, or whatever that is.
Right. It's substantially increased, and now you get trash, or you get trash food in the beginning, but now the inflation. At what cost are you doing to yourself?
Exactly, and so you can make the conscious decision to come here. You know, we bring the beef in, we butcher it ourselves. I have a whole production facility. We employ 4 people over there. That team there, they're killer, great guys, and it's like I said, it's all upper 2/3 to prime, which is very rare for burger joints these days. And we butcher the meat, we grind the meat, we make the patties in our own controlled facility, and then it comes over here every morning. And in the space next to where we do all the butchering is our buns are made by a guy we've worked with since day one.
Fresh made buns.
And that's actually going to be on our menu. Now we're redoing the menu and kind of rebranding, not the whole, well, the logo. You'll see a lot of changes here in the next couple months from a visual standpoint. But what we wanted to do was kind of brag and talk more about why A, it's so good, and B, why what we do is you don't really see a lot anymore, because we do take a lot of time and we do take a lot of expense, you know, and we do take a lot of love, and that's how we want to make our food, because that's how I've been cooking for 25 years. And I don't see another way to do it, right? And does it cost us more money? Of course. Do we try not to charge, you know, proportionally like a normal business would? Yes, we do. We make that conscious decision. I'm the only owner of this business. So it's a mix of what I'm looking for in terms of what I get out of the business financially, but for me, it's more important to have a place where your kids want to make a conscious decision to come here, where I can see people's families come here for years and years. I mean, one of the things they don't tell you about opening up a restaurant, especially one like this, because I did this at 31. I was 31 years old when I opened this restaurant, and all my team at the time were in their 20s. We didn't have any, we all just babe in the woods. But one of the things I didn't think about, because you're consumed with like, are we going to screw this up? How can I make this even better? And you don't take the time, or I didn't take the time to realize that someone bringing their kid in on our opening day, that kid is going to come to us now and be a customer until they go off to college, or for however long they're in New Orleans. We've captured that person, and I've seen literal people's children grow up into full-ass adults in the course of this business. And that is, when you sit back and you think about that, that is on par or greater than the impact to me of just the financial success or having a successful business for that long. Because that's like a win-win, right? Is that people trust you and want to be here for that long. And that's really one of the greatest parts about being in this business.
Can y'all listen to Adam? Now, I'm going to have to say, it's because you think like that, right? It's because you have that core mentality of recognizing someone to grow. Like a lot of these businesses, most of these businesses, they're not going to recognize you. I had no idea he would recognize me. And, you know, to do business for so long and then know that kid and then be like, damn, that to me is you haven't forgotten your core, that initial spark. Even though you've been through COVID, and we're going to talk about that. I mean, you've been through a lot. You've dealt with a lot. You come, you know, go into school of culinary, you know, standards. You know, we live in a situation or a society that judges people on if they've gone to school or not if they cook good food. And that's ridiculous. And I'm here to tell you, you're wrong for it. I mean, I could be corrected, and Adam can. I think he went to school. I think he didn't like it. And now he has the most, I'll say it, one of the most popular burger spots you can find in New Orleans. So that's why you're successful, in my humble opinion. But I want to get to a little bit of what I just said. I say so much. It's like, what the hell are you gonna like? I know you went through COVID, and by keeping with your consistent, recipe, literally front and back of house. I know, coming from a restaurant called Eat New Orleans, it was there for 15 years, and COVID was the end all for it. And I had went to my kids after they were born, so I wasn't there to see its demise, but COVID hit hard.
Yeah, restaurant business big time.
Yeah, and now we are looking at other people's kind of formats and blueprints. What did you learn through COVID? Because I know that watching Jared and him pivot and all the things, I can't imagine, because it threw us such a curveball.
Right.
And you being such an influence to new businesses, I'll say it. What did you learn for new businesses coming after?
New businesses, like other people's businesses?
Yeah, sure. Like whether it's any kind of business, because you had to. It's almost like a cat. You drop the cat, it lands on its feet. That's what they do, and you did.
Well, I did lose a restaurant. I mean, we did have 2 restaurants. We lost the downtown location. There was not particularly a good way to move with that. Just the numbers were stacked up. The landlord wanted their rent every month. It just wasn't. We had to walk away from it, or else it would have taken the whole company down. And at that time, we had 65 employees. And the biggest bummer about COVID, I shouldn't say bummer, that's kind of trivializing it. The worst part about COVID was how it made us all make these really difficult decisions quickly. And there wasn't, of course, a lot of guidance, because, I mean, it took over so quickly. But we just found a way to be flexible. And at the end of the day, I fired 2 of my best friends and 27 other people. And it took us, we tried everything we could to not do it, but we closed that restaurant and walked away from it. And it was probably the worst day of my professional career, because nobody wants to close a restaurant and look at half your team just going away, and have their lives affected and not really be able to do anything about it. There was no good decision. And that's the thing that I think I was the most, and still to this day, the angriest about. There wasn't a good way to do it. There's never a good way to do that. And it was brutal. And, a lot of angry people, a lot of sad people. But I had to make a choice. It was either do what we had to do, or the people that were here, right. I have people that have kids, there's so many compounding issues. You have to chop, what is it, the saying, chop off the one hand and let the other, I don't know what that saying is, but you got to figure it out, and you got to let the thing that could ruin everything go. And it sucked. I closed that door March 17th, 2020, after doing the hardest $600 of sales of my life and of anyone's lives, our whole team there. And I've yet to walk back in that space. And now it's a District Delicious, and I love those guys, and I don't talk to them about it, and they don't talk to me about it, but it's got to be challenging, and it was super challenging and super terrible, and I never want to do it ever again.
And my voice to God's ears, it won't. I commend you for being able. You did, even though there's awful stories that everyone has of COVID, and for the ones that are starting out, you seem like a cat that comes from the light, rather a pessimist side. So for anyone out there that's about to launch, don't navigate in fear. Don't look in the past. You move forward, learn from whatever the hell just happened.
I think what COVID did, I was reading about this the other day, is that culturally COVID changed everything so quickly, right? And I'm talking, I guess, mostly towards the younger generation, like, they call them the young kids, or Gen X or Z, or whoever it is these days. I try not to pay too much attention. They're all younger than me, I'll be 45 in June, and everyone feels younger than me.
Oh, I'll be 44 in June. Yes. What? Yes. 11th. Yes. Woo! Attention to detail, baby.
Everyone says everyone's told to avoid.
Right, we're the crazies.
At the end of the day, though, June Geminis.
You're right. Well, more specifically, because the end is the next one.
Right.
Whoever's after June, Cancer, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I have no idea.
I don't either. I think it's Cancer. But there's a buffer of only,
Yeah. I mean, Geminis, we feel strong, we talk strong, and
I have a temper.
we have tempers. Oh, do you? Well, I don't have a temper. No, I killed him long ago. It's an important part of growth as a leader is composure, right? Yes. And I grew up in this business the hard way, the old way, right? 90 hours a week, paid for 40. I could go. That's a whole
humble means, man.
That's just a whole other deal, Like I don't like. It's not that I don't like to talk about it, but it's irrelevant now because the person who that was, informs the person I am today and how I deal with the business and people and how I lead. And I'm a lot cooler and a lot more chill now than I used to be. I'll just say that. Anxiety and fear is a leadership killer. You cannot lead out of fear and out of stress. You have to find a way to work through and rise above it. And I owe my career and even the success here to people that were very tolerant of me in the beginning, and even to this day. Because we're restaurant people, man, we're fiery and we're intense because there's a lot demanded of us. It doesn't, and the whole idea, right, is what goes on behind, like a lineup or throughout the day from the front of the house and the back of the house. And then you have to go on stage, right, and put on this show for all your customers because everything's great and come on in. But then you have to go outside and like throw a garbage can across the alley. Not that I've ever done that. Certainly have never done that. And when you're someone who's as big as I am, I think that there is an expectation of, unpredictability, maybe that's just me saying it. But no, composure is key, very key. But going back to the COVID thing, I think so much changed culturally because we had so much time to where we couldn't do anything that zeitgeist and culture got moved like years down the road, right? The online thing, the Uber Eats thing and the DoorDash and all of these things kind of like jumped an entire cycle of culture to where now it's the norm. So we came out of COVID down a restaurant, not knowing what the future is going to hold. And now there's such a migration towards the online stuff, which you can either, we've adopted it for better or for worse. And there's pros and cons to that as well. But that is, whether it is the future in reality or it's just that we're being told that's the future because cynically the people telling us want us to go more to those platforms. That's a different argument for different people, not here. Mm-hmm. But the restaurant business almost had to catch up to it in a way. So we came out of COVID just being like, okay, we opened 6 weeks after shutdown. 6 weeks, the first day.
Wow.
First day we opened because we needed to get paid. Like people needed to work, people needed to make money, and we wanted to be there for the customers. Yes. And we literally opened that door just like we did after the hurricane, and put a table there. And we did 80% of our average business out the front door with like half the staff, whoever wanted to come to work. And we all, masks, et cetera, all of the rules. And that was a wild, wild year. I mean, dealing with because everyone brings in their own shit into a restaurant, right? Perception and expectations, preconceived notions. And that's like our job as being in hospitality is to manage that and work with that to provide that experience. And it's very difficult in any given day. And then you throw all of the whatever you want to say about COVID in with what people had to do to actually go out and exist in the world. And it really, man, you saw a lot of good stuff and you saw a lot of bad stuff.
And you put those quivers in arrows in your...
in Bastogne during World War II. You were there with us and you're forever changed by it, or you come in after and you have to adapt to how we now work and operate. And I think that was kind of like for the whole world in each individual's perspective where they're like, okay, now we're in a post-COVID world, and even 5 years down the road, so much changed so quickly. And the restaurant business, I still think there's a lot of adapting to that and figuring it out.
There is, because, the dealing with COVID alone, not even the city, okay? I'll say it because I'm friends with Chef Eric Cook. It's ridiculous, okay? What he had to endure should not have happened. And the same, you put that story on top of navigating what life is throwing at you with COVID, and then you have to deal with rigmarole from, other powers that be.
Right. Everyone was getting told what to do, right? And then there wasn't even
right.
It wasn't clear, and it is what it is. And I will always quote an old chef of mine that said, "Move away from your last plate as quickly as possible." He goes, "Make it the best, but move away from it as fast as possible." So you're only as good as your last plate. Move away from the past and figure out how to make the present and then the future better. And I took that to heart, and that's something that's like a driving force for me. Is okay, you can sit there and be mad for an hour. Like I used to be the most petulant, shitty, whiny cook in my 20s. I was this big kind of guy, and someone pulled me aside and they were like, "No one wants to work for you if you're like that. No one's going to want to work for you." And I was very fortunate to have a lot of really tolerant people early and currently in my career, and they passed those kinds of little bits and bobs around, and I was lucky to have people that cared enough, because I was the talent was there, the ability was always there. It was do we want to listen to this kid bitch about having to fire another piece of fish or not? Mm-hmm. And I learned very quickly, and saw what was happening around me, and you got to move away from the past in certain situations, and it does inform the future, but you got to move away, man. You got to keep pushing and figure out how to get better after every plate.
But stay focused and tweak and be able and cognizant and listen to the person that is telling you this stuff. Right. But your frequency rises. Right. It elevates. And then the adjectives, the negative, I'm shaking the negative adjectives that you were leaving behind were so heavy that you are rising, and your frequency rises with it, and then you affect the people.
Everyone around you. The energy just is pervasive. Yes. And then everyone else gets grumpy, and then you have a bad night of service. And who wants to have a bad night of service? Because you're whining about something. Yes. And that didn't last very long, and I moved on pretty quick. But applying that to COVID, it's look, we don't have to wear masks, we don't have vax cards, we don't have all this stuff, which was whatever it was to get us through. But it has not forced, but it moves the restaurant business into, there's a finer line in how quickly an engagement, I think, can go south, right? So it does make us a little bit more subservient to whims, because I still think there's a lot of knee-jerk reactions socially, right? And then you combine social media influence on things, which I'm not someone to talk about social media. I got no freaking clue. I don't even know what TokTik is. I don't have it. I have Instagram because I love Instagram, and that's it. But admittedly, we're not as present on the platform, and that's just maybe because we're all kind of old school dudes and people here, and even the younger kids don't use it to the level that I see other people doing it. And I don't know. It's just maybe one of those. It just goes business by business and restaurant by restaurant. But I'm an old school kind of dude. I like putting our specials out there, but I think that everything moves so much quicker, right? Because information can get passed so much quicker, and it can really, as they say, it really can influence you. And it's something that I think everyone had to contend with very quickly coming out of COVID, because that's all we had, right? Was our phones and our computers, and everyone was pissed, so everyone was talking about stuff. And that's an interesting thing to contend with in the new, the post-COVID world, in particular in, respect to restaurants. Yeah. But it can also be used for good and for your benefit.
And concentrating on the good is
focusing on the good is what we do.
Right.
Right. Move away from the past.
Yes. What we're gonna do is look. I just need to look. Such a thing is like jumping off of something and hoping there's something underneath you. Yes. Still recording.
It's still recording?
Yes.
Sometimes it'll cut off?
Well, like if you get a phone call or
Oh,
something
right.
it's like...
Even on Do Not Disturb?
No. What?
Don't you have Do Not Disturb?
I do.
Maybe that, I don't know.
I don't use it.
I don't use it either, so I don't know if it works.
I better use it.
Oh, maybe, I mean,
Because
what else?
This is the first season of
Of the YouTube?
Uh-huh.
Or
Yeah,
of
YouTube.
Of YouTube with the podcast?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, well,
sorry.
maybe look at that.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
will. Shoot.
I don't ever use it because I don't mind being disturbed.
It's done it on the podcast. It hasn't done it on the YouTube yet, and my things go blank and everything. So
Right.
it's a nuisance. Okay, so what we're gonna do is talk now about the history of the burger.
Okay.
Okay. I love the sign. And then after we talk about the history of the burger, I would love to see where the magic happens.
Cool.
Okay, cool. All right. And then I want to talk to you about something, but it won't be recorded.
Be like, I didn't get an official.
While you're talking,
transcript
I get
expectations.
really cool. Whenever anybody talks to me, I'm listening, but I also get ideas.
Yeah.
All right.
Me too. That's how
I don't know if it's hound dogging or what.
No, that's just how the ADHD works.
Okay.
Your brain's always moving.
Okay.
It's that methed out hamster in the wheel in your head. That's how I describe it. these
Right.
days. At 2 a.m. when I'm trying to go to sleep. Thinking about
My
all
mama
of the
told-
thing that could be or would be.
My mama told me that melatonin was bad for you, and it was like,
Yeah, I don't mess with that. I take a magnesium supplement.
is it the same effect? I
Well,
don't take
magnesium is
one
very
little
good for
gummy.
sleep.
Oh.
It's not as specific and as like it doesn't act in the same way melatonin does.
My mom
but it can be
had
contributed.
the same kind of attitude you did. Like, I don't mess with that.
I can tank things like certain. My body is just
She said it's bad
melatonin
for
is a
you.
joke because you can get dependent to it.
Really?
The only thing that really works is like trazodone, which is non-habit forming, which you have to get a prescription for. We're not addicted to it, but you can build a resistance to it, melatonin. But there's a company called Recess that makes these magnesium packets, and magnesium is super important for hydration and cognition and definitely your sleeping patterns.
Wow.
It's a really important thing that we typically don't get enough of.
I
in
ain't
most
heard
our
of it.
diets.
That people need to know about that.
Yeah, I put one of those. It's like an emergency.
Oh.
And then
They
so
have
I-
flavors and stuff.
Yeah, they have fun flavors.
cool.
But yeah, whatever you want. You can get on Amazon, like mix packs and stuff.
Mhm.
But I take one of those about like 30 minutes before I go to sleep.
Well, that's neat because I did take 2.
And it won't put you to sleep
It just gives you
necessarily,
the-
but it'll maybe take an edge off.
Right.
And then help you sleep through.
Right.
You know, but I do like the breathe right, the mouth tape thing. Dude, 45 is nuts. 40s is
Douglas is 45 and he sleeps with a Darth Vader
the
CPAP.
CPAP. See, I snore
I
a
couldn't
lot.
sleep. It got to the point
No, I
where
can't.
it was like
I need like this, and then I'm a side to sider.
Uh-huh.
And then hopefully a cat jumps up, and the purring rhythm of them, helps set the
Yes.
circadian rhythm.
Yes.
But the breathing and the mouth tape have been the 2 biggest improvements. I've gained a bunch of weight with this back injury, so I'm not
You
where
look
I.
the same, like
Well, I'm about-
stocky football player.
I've always been like 270, 275,
Okay.
and then I was 250 during the throes of the beginning of how to manage the pain with the back, and now that it's been 5 years, I'm pushing 3 bills these days, which is not where I want to be. So working hard to get kind of back down to, if I can just be 270 again, it'd be great. But the result is like all of the
Right.
snoring and breathing stuff, and
that affects your.
it affects everything.
Yeah.
It makes you go crazy.
Right. Oh.
Like not sleeping, like will just make you go nuts. Yeah, and it sucks too because this is like post-exam or post-exam prep for Newman and Willow and Sacred Heart and Ursuline. We're around so many schools, but every year it's the same thing every year. So they'll come back.
I'm a creature of habit. Like
Yeah.
I told you, like you know what to expect when I guess COVID was not to expect, but I mean on a normal day you know what to expect, and I love that security.
Right.
You know what I mean? It feels so good. All right, let's go.
Okay.
Okay. So, I want to pivot back to the original, the OG burger, and the history behind it. Because what's really cool, Adam, is I didn't even know that, like, before, like, at all, there was a recipe for the traditional Americana hamburger, and it did not include lettuce and tomato. And there is a picture. I don't, and you can correct me everything, but when you walk into the restaurant, you see this black and white ginormous picture photograph that's on the wall, and it has the Company Burger logo that's in it. Now, that is the stand that was built in Texas.
Yes, but it's not Company Burger.
It's not Company Burger, but the
Very clear. Because it's basically a troll, but also it kind of exemplifies where our thought process
from the beginning, that's where he took it. It was like a stand that began the trailblazing, like where we are, and it's an homage, if you will.
We're an homage to not necessarily that place in particular, but that was a couple decades in and around when the burger really became more popularized. And
There's another pull on the door.
no, they're not too sad.
No, they have a plan B. We'll go to Dat Dog.
That'd be a shame. But don't put that in. But so burgers really can be traced back to some say the State Fair of Texas, some say Oklahoma, some say Louis' Lunch in New Haven, Connecticut in the teens. I think if really to do like a top-down description, it would be more of like all of that happened kind of around the same time. And then White Castle came around. And White Castle back then was not the White Castle of today. It was kind of, White Castle came around because there was a lot of cynicism around food production, post-industrial revolution. You had Upton Sinclair, who wrote The Jungle, and that definitely kind of made everyone wary of things in cans. And then there was one of the first documentaries about food was like a slaughterhouse, right, in like Kansas in the 19-teens, and it freaked everyone out because it's a messy business, and back then was very different standards than we have today, right? So White Castle's whole argument was like, a castle is strength, and white is clean and purity, right? So someone came along and said, okay, well, we're going to build our place and call it White Castle. And they had grooming standards, a whole employee handbook. This is the uniform. This is how you trim your nails. This is how your hair is. You wear the hat. Everything's clean. And it really helped put trust back into people's minds that they were going, A, not going to kill you, and B, they were going to give you a product that was worthy of their money. And that kind of took burgers from this kind of situation where people looked at them as trash because it was ground beef, and since they now have all this other information, they didn't want to eat it, right? So White Castle was like, it's brilliant marketing. I mean, when you think about it, absolutely brilliant. And White Castle also created the hamburger bun. It was a slider bun, but they are credited with creating the actual bun. Before that, it was white toast.
What?
So like Louis' Lunch, they don't technically call themselves a hamburger. They're a hamburger sandwich. But they are credited as being one of the first restaurants to make like a hamburger patty, right? And the way they cook it is very unique. No one else in the world does it like that. If you're ever in New Haven, you got to go eat it. You got to go check it out because it's like one of those cornerstones. But White Castle was in the 20s, and then you've got Oklahoma onion burgers or smash burgers, right? And one of the
Is that where that originated?
So one of the original styles of burgers in America was a smash burger. It was maybe a guy in the State Fair in Texas smashing a patty with a spatula into the griddle, and even that was kind of like an improv move to feed people. George Moats, who is our foremost burger historian in his country, he's done a pop-up here, and he's a great guy. He has the more succinct and definitive version of the history of the burger. So if you want to really know more than what I'm just kind of spitballing, you can go check him out on YouTube or anywhere, or go eat at his restaurant Hamburger America, which is a testament to.
Where's that at?
It's in New York. Okay. And that's more of a testament to the history of the hamburger. So he is the torch holder for all that is history of the hamburger. I've read enough about from him and other books to give you kind of a top-down view. So how that leads into Company Burger is that we predate the modern interpretation of the smash burger, right? I was doing this burger in 2008 at a restaurant in Atlanta for another chef. We only did 24 of them. We only did it after 10 o'clock because we were more of a public house. And this was back even in Atlanta in '08 when this style of restaurant was, and like cocktails, like back when cocktails started becoming a thing. No one had seen any of this in Atlanta. It was like a watershed sort of restaurant. And we only offer 24 of a thing at a specific time back then, and even anywhere, but especially back then when it just kind of took people off guard, it made it obviously very much a thing. And this was before viral stuff and, you know, everything you see today. And we would have people come and eat dinner at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and by virtue of spending your money, we kind of let you in, and that we would reserve a burger for you. But every night at 10 o'clock, I would put 2 pans of burger patties on the griddle and toast the buns, and it was this exact, you know, pickles, onions, cheese. Wow. So that's when I started doing it, and we talked about what type of burger it was going to be, and, you know, I didn't want to, smash burgers weren't a thing. They were and they weren't, because Shake Shack was kind of 4 years in with Shake Shack's ascension, and they did, I guess, what you would call the first mainstream production of smash burgers. Even though it's not what you see with the lacy edge, like what we get now, they did physically smash a ball of meat into the griddle, and that was back then. So, but we were again using really, really great product, and so for us back then, in a restaurant in which we made everything ourselves, all the charcuterie, all the sauces, everything we possibly could. It was a 48 item menu. It was like small plates back before they became like a joke and kind of like overblown.
Trendy and hipstery.
Well, we were a public house, right. So like we wanted that eat a lot of different stuff kind of drink, you know.
And
like
but you were before the mad rush, like, of everyone like, it takes someone that really like has the roots, to create something that somebody copies.
Right.
I was talking to someone.
Well, the food world though is like everyone's standing on everyone else's shoulders. Like, it's inspiration. You know, I just knew back then that
not all of them are cognizant of that, and also they don't give it respect. And I think that is also an adjective that attach it, like respect. If you don't have respect, I don't know what that word is, but that is a sticky word that keeps you from elevating, because it keeps you down on the ground and you're not up creating what you're supposed to be doing. And when you are humble and you treat others with respect, then that is almost like armor, because then people want to love you, like they want to love you and want to work for you. It really, you pay homage to not only that stand in Texas with your logo, but your reputation and your proof, your living by example.
It's the integrity of the history too. Yeah. So for me, when we created that burger back then, and even today, that's how I ate burgers as a kid. My dad would do burgers in cast iron skillets, and when I was working at the restaurant I worked at before that, for the same chef, both restaurants were right across the valet area from one another. When I would come in early to start work, or on Sunday, I would make that for him and I, and that was like the burger we kind of ate before we got to work. So it was always one of those things. But for the sign, it's threefold. We put the company burger logo on it because we could. It was not copyright. It was from the Library of Congress, and so that embodies like our looking back to move forward. And as chefs, that's a lot. You'll hear that a lot in philosophy of chefs, where we want to be inspired by things before us, and yes, elevate or change this or modify that or do different things, because we're individuals and we're artists. So we're always going to take something and make it our own or use it to keep progressing things. And that's art and art form and all of its glory. So for us, that picture is we want to serve something as close of approximation to what I think they were eating back then, but in a modern interpretation with the best ingredients, making our buns, making our pickles, making the mayonnaise. It's just always been a winning formula. And that's how
You see,
that's how
that's why I'm here.
and that's how I always want to cook. I mean, that's how I grew up cooking. I've been cooking professionally since I was 16. And my parents are both incredible cooks. The people that work here are all incredible cooks in their own right. Two of my kitchen managers, the guys, Joe, who is our GM, has been cooking almost as long as I have, and our chef, Jacob, has been cooking almost as long as we. There's almost 75 years of experience between the three of us, and that's powerful. Yeah. Like this is not just a burger joint. This is a restaurant, a chef-driven restaurant, in the respect that we maintain the quality and the integrity of what we're serving, and we take a lot of pride. Not to saying no one other people don't. Right. Just here, it's just we go to great lengths to keep what we do the same.
What's really neat, and I want to show y'all this massive air vent that they use for cooking their delicious burgers. But this vent, like I ran a restaurant, so like we had a
14-foot hood.
Yeah, it's 14-foot hood.
It looks bigger than it is. Pause. Because of the fur down we had to do to get it to the drop ceiling. So there is a lot of stainless steel. It's not just like shoved up into a ceiling, right? And it is a big visual marker for the restaurant.
It's like a big organ.
An organ of meat making.
And a meat organ.
In one way or the other.
Pause.
No, it's what it takes, and we fit all the equipment under it, and then makes a whole heck of a lot of noise.
But also, it's also like a sound machine, because like kids, I don't know if you have kids, but sound machines, and y'all listening, a little sound machine is how you get a consistent newborn to stop. And then you make it a darker, you don't have to make it completely dark, but that and a company burger airflow, that will put a newborn to sleep. It's gorgeous. And y'all, he makes his onion rings. They make the onion rings completely, like they get these big old things of purple onions, and then they hand cut them, they batter them on the spot, and it's consistent every damn time for 14 years. They cut their own fries, and then
fries are the biggest. I would say the fries, the milkshakes, and the buns, and the grinding of the meat are the big, like, Mount Rushmore of what we do, because that takes a immense amount of effort. It's a 3-day process for our fries. Wow. And that's another thing, like, we're working on talking about more and making more obvious. I think the product, the quality, and maybe not the entire process stands for itself, but we're only as good as the potato, right? So I think more times than not, the process creates a very consistent and delicious product. But it's a whole mess of effort.
And you got to do different things. You got to soak them in whatever you soak them in.
We cut, soak, we pre-fry, always the same time and temp, and then we chill on racks, and then we package the next day, send them up to the restaurant, and then they're fried to order.
And it's like a machine, literally. Like he does it. Hiding my logo. He does it in such a way that is not only contagious for his employees, but it is a product that is so good. And I can't wait to try the real company burger without my modifications.
Well, I'm very interested to see what your opinion on it is.
The older I've gotten, onions used to be like, I don't want onions.
I get that.
No, I'm not gonna die from it.
More than you think.
But you're not gonna die from it.
One of
Try.
my friends doesn't do onions, and he refuses to even try. And I'm like, bro, come on. And he's like, but here's the thing, the onions that we do are like shaved, right? So they're really thin. So what happens, and this is part of the process, and the thought process behind the burger is, you get 2 patties, each get cheese, but the bottom patty has cheese and then onions and then meat. So as it sits there and finishes cooking and the cheese melts, the onions sweat. So ideally you don't get like that bite and crunch of onion. It more melts, and all of the juice comes out of it, and it's a flavor. It's more of a flavor component. And then you'll pull some out when you eat the cheese, whatever. I mean, that just is what it is. But it is part of the whole package. Yeah. But it's not that we're like hinging everything. It's a subcomponent. But the idea is that it cooks and sweats, so you're not getting that, because onions can be pretty I can't. The word, of course, escapes me now. Abrasive. I'm thinking of the more. You know, they've got a lot of polyphenols in them that you know are just very powerful, and it can be a very distinct flavor. And for us, that's why we use the red onions.
And they're pungent. But what's really cool is I operate in fear, right? I try not to operate in fear. And if you've eaten into, you know, country, like one of them onions is like 4 inches thick and like you're tasting it for 2 years. Oh, are you?
Bro, I want my burger patty this thick and my onion this thick. I don't care. I love onion with a cheeseburger. I love a grilled onion. I mean, whatever. As long as there has to be an onion on a cheeseburger.
Okay.
I have to have it.
I love that. I can't wait to try it. And
one of my favorite burgers in the world. It's like cheese, onion, meat, and bread. And that's
wow.
It's like an onion, a good 1/4-inch onion slice, and I'm like, yeah, give me the whole thing. I want the whole slice of onion on there.
Oh, you're awesome. You like that onion like I like your mayo. Shoot. It's some people that don't know your secret would look at my burger and be like, what the hell is he about to eat? No. Like it is a big old, like, I don't know, shovel full of this mayonnaise. Well, anyway.
What you gotta do to make yourself happy, man. That's what restaurants are, right? We're 4 walls. You escape from the world. You come in here, you get treated really well. You buy a great product, and that's the whole point, right? Is for you to get I want you to enjoy this exactly how you want it. Not like a Burger King slogan, but just right. You know, some people I can see come in here and like let's just take for example like Oxford Baptist is a few blocks away, and they've when they upgraded their maternity ward or their childbirthing ward, we noticed it immediately because you would have that you would have like probably every 9 out of 10 babies born, the mom will inevitably want a cheeseburger, so they'll send the proud new father here. And they'll sit at the food bar, and they've got the yellow or white name tag on. Usually yellow if you're in the maternity ward, from what I can gather. And he's sitting there, and he's kind of doing one of these, like what just happened to me? And they're
shell shocked.
The way their life just fundamentally changed in the matter of a few minutes, and everything's good. You know, everyone's healthy, 10 toes, 10 fingers, and he's just looking at the burger getting made, and he's drinking, maybe he's drinking a whiskey, maybe he's drinking a beer, but you could just tell, right? And then he gets his bag for his wife, and he has to eat that burger there, right? Yeah. And that first bite, and you can just see it's like, and it's just, everything's going to be okay. You're going to be okay, bro. Yeah. And that's the power of food, and the power of getting and eating that thing that is going to make you feel good the minute you put it in your mouth. So that's what it's all about. I don't get, the first burger that was ever sold here was without onions. And I literally read it from the ticket. I pulled it off the printer, and I said, walking in, burger, no onions. And before I could finish no onion, I turned my head and I go, really? And my GM at the time was like, settle down. They're like, no. And I'm just, because you're 31 years old, you've been in this business, like everything, people in different restaurants I've worked in, they eat what you put on the menu, right? There's no mods. This is my deal. Yeah. My soul on a plate. And I very quickly realized that you have to put that aside because you are here for people, for your customers. And if someone doesn't want onions, they don't get to have onions on their burger, and that's totally okay.
Wow. He reminds me of Seth Rogen, but make it hamburgers. Like I like you, Adam. Now, are you ready to show us where the magic happens?
Let's go. I'll give you the nickel tour.
Let's go. Wow. Look at Adam Biederman.
Hey guys.
He is behind the line. You guys, look at this ginormous, gorgeous piece of artwork.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Hood Vince, and this is a beauty.
It's a big old baby.
Yeah, it is, and this is where magic happens. So just take us. I'm going to give you the mic, and you just introduce us to where the magic happens.
All right, cool.
So
All right, so this is our lawn. it's 3 positions: fry, middle or toast, and then grill. And our grill isn't a grill, it's a griddle, but we just call it grill so we don't have to type out griddle. Just make it easy for everyone. Orders all come in here. So Expo reads off the orders and then everyone executes orders from there. The whole idea behind this line was to bring everything to the center, right? So trays sit here with tickets on them. So Grill can read all the mods for all you people that mod all my burgers, which is totally okay. So they can read all the burgers and all the mods and all the sandwiches. And obviously, if there's a sandwich or something that comes off the fry side, they kind of have to work by memory, but it's a lot more simple up there. And if the person in the middle will read mods for the fry guy for like chicken sandwich, falafel, any special that comes off the fryer, stuff like that. And they can also, see pretty clearly too. So the whole idea is that everything happens and is executed out of one alley. Especially for like to-go food, you'll have foil here, and that, obviously to come up in order because everything gets fired in order. So the grill is a 46-inch or 48-inch griddle. And the really cool thing about this piece of equipment is that it's not gas, it's electric. And these AccuTemp griddles, we were one of the first burger joints to really start using these. I still have the same guy that works for this company, my buddy Kenny. He, great guy, great company, made I think in Indiana. And the cool thing about this is that this entire underneath is a hermetically sealed water chamber, and that gets heated by electric elements, and it raises the temperature of the water. And there's about a 1/4 inch of gap between the metal cooking surface and where the water is. And so that water boils, right? And it's trapped in there because it's hermetically sealed with welds, it's very safe. And it heats this cooking surface up to 400 degrees. And the cool thing about that is, while it's maybe not as hot as other people run their griddles, which are usually in the 415s, 420s, like smash burgers in particular need a little bit of a higher temp. What it does is it allows us to cook a lot of food very quickly, and it never loses that 400 degree temperature. It's called recovery. So it's instant recovery, as in you can take you take cold meat and put it on a hot surface. That surface loses its temperature, right? Thermal conduction. I know I'm getting very scientific.
No, it's good.
I
love
I
it.
nerd out super hard. This is really what I love about restaurants from my position is I really like building things. And I've built 5 restaurants now, 4 restaurants, 5 or 4, and a production facility. And I'd say if people pick my brain about opening restaurants, this is where most of that brain picking happens, is on the business side of things and on the construction equipment side of things. I feel very strongly about those items, and I love, I helped a lot of people, because I want to see them succeed, and I want them to have equipment that won't fail them, because the biggest thing that'll ruin a new restaurant is repairs and maintenance. One of the biggest things. But one of the things you can't control, you buy once, cry once. People don't buy once, cry once. They buy once and cry for a very long time, and it's a big expense. Can be a big expense. So what you can do is, back to the griddle, you can put a cold burger on this and then flip it to the same spot, and that will be 400 degrees even on the flip. Where most griddles will lose this weight, this heat here, and you'll have to move it to another location. That's a little inside info for non-restaurant folk. So conventional griddles don't, because they have heating elements that run up the griddle surface, right? You can even see it over time on older griddles. You'll see streaks of darker. That's because the heating element is there. So what the water does, and the way this is designed, is that the entire surface is going to maintain 400 degrees at all times. So our ability to produce food is much greater.
Wow.
Right? And so that's this is the workhorse of the whole kitchen. Part 2 of the burger journey. after it's cooked, it's got to go on a bun, right? The buns we make every day in-house. They're ready for us by about 5, 6 in the morning. They get brought over to our part of the production facility, and we butter them by hand ourselves, and they get sent to the restaurant, and they get toasted here to order. So fresh butter, toasted buns, and this griddle only handles bread. There's no meat, no bacon, none of that on this griddle. So it only toasts bread. So again, everything comes off here, goes to the middle, and gets set for the griddle guy. And then of course, the other part, can't have a burger without fries. And this is our fry station. This is our heat warmer. This keeps everything about as fresh as you can for, the 30, 40 seconds we need until it's put in a bag and served. And then this is the workhorse of the fryer. It's a Big Dog auto filter Frymaster fryer. Frymaster is an American company. I think it's out of Shreveport. To be honest, I think it's Louisiana and an American company. I think it's still Shreveport. And this thing is a monster. It does so much work for us. And it never drops temp. You can just chuck a whole bunch of stuff in there. And so we do, our homemade French fries, our hand-dredged onion rings, sweet potato fries, tater tots, which is big with the kids and a lot of people. And what's the other last thing we do? We do pork rinds, and then we make our own pimento cheese. Pimento cheese! You gotta have pimento cheese. And this handles everything. So fryer, and then this is the station where all the onion rings are dredged by hand. We have our own flour mixture. Goes flour, buttermilk, flour, and into the fryer. Double dip? In a way. It's kind of like a 1.5 dip. Okay. But yeah. You got to have the flour because it won't stick. The buttermilk won't stick to the onion. So this station is, the flour station. And then here is just staging. Our chicken gets fried here. And that's it. That's the whole line. It's 3 guys most shifts. On the weekends, it'll be 4 guys. We'll have 1 guy just on the warmer placing fried food into bags. And this is like our cold station. So this is where we keep all the, arugula, mayonnaise, cheese. No, cheese is in a bin down there. All the condiments that make up the turkey burger. All the lettuce and tomato is secretly, you gotta ask for it, right? It's secretly stored. Secretly stored down there. We don't even like to joke about it because people will think that we're now doing it, and we don't even do it as an April Fool's joke. But that's it. It's a 3-man line, 4 on the weekends, and we'll do 100 to 120 burgers an hour with 4 dudes in an expo. It's a lot of volume, but the burger cooks in 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Piece of chicken that our chicken is equal amount of attention to our chicken sandwich. It's all natural, hormone antibiotic free chicken. It's the best chicken you can find. And we pound it and brine it and dredge it to order. So like every single aspect of this menu.
You pound the chicken too?
Yeah, just to even it out so it cooks evenly.
Wow.
And then we brine it for overnight and serve it the next day. It's all Joyce Farms. Really, really delicious chicken.
Amazing.
So it's good stuff. Every aspect of what we do has the same amount of thought and attention to the quality on it. And especially our milkshakes. Because if there's anything else I'm equally proud of in this business, like the company burger, it's our milkshake program. And I think our milkshakes are the best in the world. I would actually take our milkshakes to any competition anywhere, if there was a milkshake competition. But Bertha right here, she's the heart and soul of our milkshake program. This is a Stolting soft serve machine. And the mix that we get, no one else can get around. It's 10% butter fat. It's made for us to order out of Wisconsin. Yeah, it's the same company.
I got a microphone and y'all were like, "Hey, microphone doesn't." I have to interrupt and be like, "What?" Okay.
It's the same company that makes Dairy Queen soft serve. So it was actually started by Dairy Queen in the 50s for them, but then it was kind of spun off into its own wholly owned subsidiary company. So they still co-pack for Dairy Queen, but that's at a much different quality level. And what we use is their 10% butterfat mix, which kind of sounds like a lot, but it is, honestly. That's why it's so good. But it's the quality of the Wisconsin dairy, made to order, sent to us as soon as possible, and then combining it with this machine, which is one of the better ones you can get, it really makes the difference in the actual soft serve. And you can't have a good milkshake if you don't have good ice cream. And for us, soft serve is the way. This is the way, is the soft serve. Yeah, hand scooped is not the move. If you want good milkshakes, soft serve. So you have good ice cream, right? And what do you need to make good milkshakes? You need to make the flavorings, the sauces. And that is, like everything else what we do here, it's commitment to quality and recipe. The chocolate sauce we use in our chocolate milkshake, which, by the way, a chocolate malt is like deathbed situation for me.
Oh,
That
I
is one of the last
love
things
me
wanna put
some
in my mouth.
malts.
I'm a chocolate malt boy, always will be. The chocolate sauce that we use for our chocolate milkshakes is an adapted recipe from my great-grandmother in around 1907. So family history, we use, we have a brownie recipe that we serve here whenever my mom feels like baking brownies. She's my pastry chef. But then also the chocolate sauce we use here, and we sell, it's always a toss-up in a month of sales between cookies and cream and chocolate. Vanilla is a very close third. But yeah, it's a 100-year-old plus recipe from her, from B Shine. And that's what we make that. We make it melted chocolate, evaporated milk, sugar, a little bit of salt, some vanilla. And that is we don't buy chocolate sauce. We don't do any of that stuff. We make it ourselves. The strawberry sauce for our strawberry milkshake is literal frozen strawberries that we make in the sauce ourselves. When we do a special like this month, well, in July, I can't speak to what the special will be in July, but right now we're doing strawberry cheesecake, and that is literally cream cheese we buy ourselves in the milkshake. It's real cream cheese. It's our strawberry sauce. It's real graham cracker crumbs. So anytime we do anything that you're going to eat, anything we can make, we take that opportunity to do ourselves. And I think that's what, it just makes all the difference. It's a huge point of pride. The milkshakes for me, I don't even eat them because I don't want to get sick of them. I don't ever want it to be not as special as it is. That's the chef's curse. You eat your food so often, it's less special. I'll do that with anything else except for the milkshake.
Wow.
Yeah, take a lot of pride in them. And we sell about 110 a day.
What a pleasure. I am still pinching myself. Adam Biederman is a trailblazer in his own right for the burger, and especially here in New Orleans. I think when we have people that come here, I think that they'll be influenced to go in other parts of the country and copy, because they didn't create it. It came from him, and the level of detail that goes from one product to the next is unmatched. And that's why it's my most favorite burger in the world. I am always craving it. I have a daughter that craves it, and we can't wait. I can't wait to take her back here. Look, as I close out, I'm telling y'all, I'm taking her. She's going to be surprised. And we're going to do the whole smorgasbord. We're going to get a milkshake. We're going to get those fried onion rings and fries. I'm going to eat a real company burger. And it will be an elevation for me. I can't wait. Adam, thank you so much. You are a role model. Come around real quick. I want to ask you, as we wrap up, I like to do things with my phone and stuff to inspire other people that they can also do what I do. I'm going to run over to Adam, and I'm going to close out like I always do. I'm going to ask him who inspired him to do what he's doing today.
Man, that is such a loaded question. I think growing up in the retail business with my parents, watching my dad work every day to provide for us, I've always wanted to work. I did not go to college. I lasted about 3 semesters in college and just knew it wasn't for me. It wasn't my place. So wanting to work was definitely a thing, and that's something I learned from him. Hanging out with him, cooking, and their kitchen, in our kitchen, getting to eat delicious cheeseburgers with him and all the other things that him and my mom is a phenomenal cook and baker in her own right.
And he had the pickles and cheese.
No, that was another
Oh.
person I worked for his family. So, but cooking and a lot of cooks have just strong histories of family cooking, and it gets inside you and it doesn't leave, and that's how we want to put how we feel about it out in the world. So I think just family and friends. I cook a lot with my friends. I wouldn't say anyone professionally because, like I said, I came up. I think on the hospitality side, I have people in my life that have restaurants now in Atlanta still, because that's where I cut my teeth, was Atlanta. I think those people inspired me and showed me how to take care of people in a very specific and very glorious way. And it takes a lot of work, and it's a lot of effort.
Oh, it's more people, you guys.
11 o'clock. See you then. I know, like, as I'm talking about hospitality, I'm like,
See ya!
But it's kind of, anything's an argument for opening up on Tuesdays. You've certainly shown me. This is certainly a motivator, but, it is what it is for now.
Oh, Adam, you and your team, that Trusted Three Amigos, you guys, he is a spark lighter, and I am super humbled and honored and all of the things to be able to kind of get a tour of where Papa's favorite burger comes from. And I can't wait for those that live under a rock that haven't tried it to try it. And I can't wait to surprise my daughter, because we about to end school. Her ceremony is on Friday. Okay. All right, I got to go. But from my family to you and your family and everybody's family, we send you